Momentarily going to be joined here, Ed Hervey, who is the vice president now of the Edmonton Elks, as well as general manager of this team. Which headset do we have? That one? Okay, now I got to switch which ones here. Ed, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you again. Congratulations. What's it been like being in the offices? Feel like you feel like home?
Yeah, absolutely. It does feel like home. Even though, when you leave your house and you're gone for a long time and you come back, the furniture's moved, some people have changed, but it still has that feel of home to me, right? I feel comfortable here, and I'm just excited to be back.
When you were let go here from the first time, there's a lot of people that were upset about it. And I don't want to go on to those decisions, but fans, I don't think ever really got over it. They've been looking forward to this day. I think every single year, every time there's been some sort of changes, your names come up, especially by fans. The change happened not because of football reasons or anything, and they liked what you were building here. For you personally, is this unfinished business, or is this just 2.0 with this franchise?
Well, first of all, the first time I want to make certain to our listeners here that for all the negatives, and I do appreciate the support, there's a lot of positive to draw from my departure, right? I got a chance to be mentored by Wally Buono, and I think that was invaluable experience for me as a young general manager in this league, and understanding how he did things, seeing his perspective behind things, and then moving over to Hamilton and working with Orlando Steinauer and Scott Mitchell, who I know they're very passionate about the CFL, and they, again, first-class organization. So when I come back here almost like I have a master class in other organizations, and being able to take a little bit of what I've learned from those places and be able to instill into our organization here and build. And I just want to – I know that everyone wants to win. We all say we want to win, but I want people around me that will live it, that they're going to feel it, that they're going to come in and understand. When they come in the building, they're going to feel the energy that we're working hard, we're working together, we're pulling, we're aligned. And then when the players get here, the same thing. When they hit the field, they're ready to perform. And, that's going to be what we do, and we're going to be all about that. The foundation of building a brand is one part, but building a core of players, staff, people who believe that we can win every game when we set foot on the field. That starts today, and we have to instill it throughout, not just the players, but our fans as well. And I'm just ready to get going, and I'm excited about that.
What was the process like, let's be honest, you were highly speculated as soon as Chris was named as the club's new president to be coming in as the GM. What was the process like? What were the steps like in leading to that? Obviously, it was released to the press that they had asked to interview you, but what was it like as far as you and Chris, and how much did you guys go back and forth on that?
Well, I was actually getting ready to meet with Hamilton and discuss our future plans moving forward. And then Scott Mitchell had mentioned to me that Edmonton had reached out and requested permission to speak. And, I was obviously flattered by that. And, through that brief moment, I looked at him and I said, hey, I got to be honest with you that, that's an opportunity where if it presents itself, I have to consider, because the Edmonton job isn't a job to me. It's a responsibility to a community that I've been a part of, that I'm still a part of, to make sure that things are being done right within the organization with the best interest of winning and the best interest of the people in here. And we had a candid talk about that, and I didn't know where the process was going to land because, again, new ownership and Chris being on, it wasn't a shoe-in for me to be the guy, but I do know Chris, and we were aligned in a lot of things, but there was a process. And for me, it was different because I didn't take anything for granted. I wasn't going to, and I handled the process the way whenever I got called, I answered. When the interview times for me to speak, I spoke my piece, and I felt like for myself, if I was going to put myself out there to sell myself as the guy, I said, for what Edmonton needs right now is someone who understands this community and who's ready to hit the ground running, and who's here and who lives here, wants to be here. I can walk in any city and sit down and talk about Edmonton Eskimo football, Edmonton Elk football, whatever the case is, whatever name our fans choose to, refer to us as, I bleed this. And I'm excited about being back, and I'm just ready. I'm so fired up to get going. I'm just ready to roll my sleeves up and find the people around me and players that are willing to do the same.
Can you talk about your relationship with Chris Morris? I know years ago, I've remember Dave Jamieson saying that, when you're playing days, your locker always seemed to be relatively close to the offensive lineman, which generally doesn't happen. But that, clearly you and Chris have a relationship. How do you think you guys are going to work together with a working relationship?
I think it's going to be really fun. I had a chance to work with him, obviously, on the football projects that we did in the Northern Alberta Football Summits. We're very aligned on the things that we see football wise. He's got a major responsibility, learning the position as CEO. And I think he's going to do an excellent job there. And he knows that he can turn his back and trust me to do football. I'm going to make sure that he's informed on everything that we're doing. I think that the lines of communication between he and I have already been established 20 plus odd years ago. So it's not going to be difficult for him to, come in my office and ask questions, or me to go in his office, as long as he's, not in a meeting or anything. But opportunities for us to speak are going to be frequent. And we have a responsibility to one another to make sure that our information that is going back and forth, because our staff, the people in this building, and our players need to see that there's alignment at the top in order for us to have a product on the field that people can be proud of. And it has to start between Chris and I and our relationship. And that relationship's only going to go stronger than it has been.
So, new president, new GM, there's going to be a new head coach on that sideline next year. When that decision's made, and we're not putting a timeline on it, okay? When that decision is made, what's the process then? Because neither yourself or the next head coach, most likely will not have seen this team on a day-to-day basis last season. Do you go back and review film? What's the process like? They're getting to know the players that are currently rostered.
Yeah, that process. Remember, we watch film all year of each other
Sure.
anyway. So that part, gaining familiarity with the roster to that level is basically taking the actual team and just starting over and watching more detailed as far as individual players, free agents that are on the roster. And the way I look at it is I look at the top salaries all the way down. And are we getting the production that we need from that position? Yes or no? And then our scouting staff and coaching staff, to some degree, we look at it as well. But my personnel staff is very important in this process as far as the players are concerned. The head coach, we have an opportunity at that time to be able to talk about the individual players. Who do we believe can help us, where our opportunities lie as far as free agencies and possible trades and different things of that nature. And, we'll go from there. But I think the first and most important thing is interviewing the coaching candidates and getting their understanding as to what our expectations are from the head coach position. And from there, the head coach buying into what there's an understanding of what we have to do. It's not just going to be coaching the players. There's a responsibility to the head coach as far as this community is concerned, in understanding that, we need to help fill seats as well. And as to our responsibility, we have to be accessible to the media. We have to be accessible to our fans. And there's going to be different opportunities for us at different events throughout the city to make sure that we're connecting and engaging ourselves in the community, as well as putting the best product we can on the field.
Well, I thought it was interesting that you alluded to, speaking of players, of trying to get players here throughout the offseason to make this their home. And you can obviously understand the value in that. As you've been, around the CFL and other organizations, is that something that is you see a lot present throughout, or is that something you thought worked for this, back in the day kind of thing, and you think it should come back?
I think you see it in various organizations, not as much as it was when it was here. But I can assure you that when your players spend the offseason together, they build a rapport, they build a core, and they build a lot more of what you don't see together. And then when there's 10 guys staying around, all of a sudden there's 15 guys, and then 15 turns into 20 because guys want to be where their teammates are, and we want to be able to provide that opportunity for the players to be here in the off season with doing community stuff. We have to get back into the community. Our fans need to know who our players are, right? 1 year and done and going on to the next team and 1 year and moving on. That's not the CFL. That's not the CFL that I know. Yes, we all do it. It's like, hey, we roll it. Everybody, oh, hey, guess this guy's going here next year. He's been in the league 6 years. He's been with 5 teams. That's not going to change. But if we can create an environment and a foundation where players believe in what we're doing here and are willing to stay here, and we can start building a core nucleus of players that just want to stay here, that's going to get us over the top more than every offseason, 25 free agents out, 15 new ones in, right? We want to build some continuity in that department as well. And again, it starts, as Chris said, it starts with having a staff, manager and coach and everyone that's in place that we can do those things. And it's very important for me that the head coach and his staff, not just the head coach, but his staff, understand that. And if that's not understood, then this opportunity with Edmonton isn't the one for some guys.
Maybe this is a little unfair. And you say with Trey Ford, you want to have a conversation with him and you want to open up, get going. And now you got to do coaching staff and all of that. But from the outside looking in, because you don't know Trey, do you see a guy that maybe has the tools to be a potential starting quarterback for the Green and Gold?
I think there's a lot of talent there. I think there's a tremendous amount of excitement behind him. And I believe that with more development, and I think that he definitely can be a guy that not only can start in this league, but be very effective and dangerous. It's what style of play are we going to be able to extract from Trey Ford? Are we going to try to cookie cutter and put him making this drop back passer? I see him as a weapon, right? I see him as a guy when the ball's in his hands, again, being able to recognize coverages and those things and pass when he needs to, but also know that because he's such a threat to run, defenses are going to game plan him differently. They will game plan him differently than any other quarterback in this league. But once he's able to get in an offense and get with a staff, a coordinator that understands his skill sets and able to put together something that works for him and gives him the confidence that he needs with respect to going out there knowing that, hey, he's prepared. He understands that if he makes a mistake that, he doesn't have to look over his shoulder. We want him to go out there with a great deal of confidence, but also know that he has to also come in and compete, right? Like the quarterback position is so important on two folds, right? You're only as good as the availability of your starter. But if the starter goes down, there can't be a avalanche or a cliff so deep that the backup is someone that shouldn't be out there. So, those are the things I'd like to speak to Trey about. But with every opportunity to speak with him, I want him to know that I have a lot of confidence in him as a player. But I also want to hear his thoughts on the organization and how he was handled and how we can help improve his perception of this organization. And I hope that today has taken a step in that direction for him to see the positives of what we're doing moving forward. I
got to say, when you first took to the podium, you called this franchise a laughingstock. And I think when you look at the results and a lot that has happened over the last long time, that was the first time that I've heard that, though. How much did that hurt you from the outside watching this franchise that I think 99 you first got here, played, community, scout, GM? How much did that hurt you watching this franchise and having to be able to say it's a laughingstock? Yeah, it's just when you're talking about a narrative that was out there, right? Because I wasn't calling the club a laughingstock, but right. The people around me were like that. Anyone would be able to do it, though.
Hey, they're this, they're that. It's just when you ask how does it hurt, it's a balance between being where your feet are and knowing that there are good people in that organization that I worked with for a long time that are going through that. And again, this is still a people business, and it will always be that. And you think that I want my close friends and friends that I have that are around here having to suffer through that? Like, it shouldn't be that bad, right? Yeah, teams go through their spell. They lose some. Those things happen. But when you get everyone saying, "Oh, Edmonton," and then it becomes the butt of jokes, it's like, man. And you sit there, I sit in my seat and I squirm in my seat, but I'm elsewhere. And yes, I'll be honest with you. Like I always said in my back of my mind, if the opportunity ever presented itself in the right situation, I would love to come back. Not because my house is here, but because I truly care about this football team, this organization, and the people that come here. And I know that they're passionate about this team. And I just hope that they recognize and understand that in the general manager's chair right now is someone that they can trust, someone that's going to be honest with them, and is a grown-up. And there's not going to be a lot of room for, Mickey Mouse stuff in our football department. We're going to be professional, and when the players get here, we're going to give our best efforts. And for those fans who are, haven't come back or stopped coming for a while, I'm hoping that we can do our best to convince them to start coming back and return to the stadium and give them something to cheer for and be excited about.
I just got to say, with all due respect to BC and Hamilton, the orange and black, the yellow and black, it didn't look as good on you as the green and gold does. So congratulations and welcome back, and look forward to seeing what you can do with this football team, Ed.
Thank you.
Well, I just got to say one more thing here, because in the press conference you said that your office is going to be an open door.
Yeah.
So next time we have to come here to do a press conference, when the next head coach is hired, I'm assuming that means that we won't be stuck in this office, but we're going to hop
Just
on
come in
yours.
in your room.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, absolutely. You can come in there and I'll make sure that, you have all the space you need. Guys, it's a different version of me this time around, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great seeing you, Ed. Thank you very much. There we go. Ed Hervey, Vice President of Football Operations, General Manager of the Edmonton Elks. For me personally, that just sounds right. And we will see what Ed can do moving forward with this club. The work for Ed begins, I think, right away. As soon as he leaves this door, I'm assuming the work is going to get going